Okay. Now I'm saying what actually has function. In has function, what is happening? Yeah, I already taught you the how has function is used for providing authenticity, confidentiality, and digital signature. Now I'm going to show you over here how what is the internal of hash function, how hash function is made. Hash function is generated by a function hash. Actually, there is a function hash which is generating the hash code, yeah, hash value. So M is the message. By putting the message in the hash function, we are getting some value that is known as hash code, small h. That is denoted here by small h. That is the hash value we are getting after putting the message in the hash function. So what is message? Message is variable length message. That means uh, any length message can be there. So HM is the fixed length hash value. That means after putting the message into the hash function, it will get a fixed length hash value. So requirement for a hash function. What is the requirement of hash function? Actually, uh, what what a hash function is doing? Hash function is has function providing the fingerprint of file, message, or block. It is providing a fingerprint. Like we can say, we are saying that it is has whatever the hash value is provided, that is known as fingerprint of file, message, or block for message authentication. Hash function as must have following. So there should be some properties that hash function must follow. So what are the properties that hash function should follow? Hashing function can be applied to block of data of any size. It is not that means hash function can be applied to any block of data. Means any size of data. It is not any there that only this much size data can be used. So any size data can be used by the hash function. So you can understand that. Next thing is that after applying the hash function, we get fixed length output, and Hx is relatively easy to compute. That means hash hash value x is actually message. So Hx is relatively easy to complete for given x. That means for given message, Hx is very easy to compute using both hardware and software implementation. That means if you are having both hardware and software, then it is very easy to calculate hash value. For any given value h, it is completely infeasible. That means if it is very infeasible to compute h, that means if hash value is given to you, suppose hash value is given to you or attacker, he is not able to find out. That means he must not be able to find out original message. That means if hash value is given to the attacker or we are having hash value, so it is computationally infeasible to find that. That means from given hash value, it should be like that. We should not be able to find out original message from given hash value, such that Hx is equal to H. One-way it is known as one-way property. Otherwise, attacker can generate secret value. If it is not done, then attacker is able to develop the secret key value, secret value. So I am saying that the it must hash value must be completely infeasible to find out H. That means by given hash value, we should not be able to find out original message. For given any block X, it is computed. That means if by and X are messages, so two different messages are there, by and X. So by not equal to X, such that messages are not same. They are different messages. One message is X, second one is Y. H by is equal to Hx, such that H by is referred to as weak collision. If H by has value of Y and has value of X, if should not be equal, otherwise it is known as weak collision. That is known as weak collision. Computationally infeasible to find out any pair. That means computationally it must be infeasible to find out any pair of the message such that their hash value are same. So it is known as strong collision resistance. So these are the properties of the hash value. Now how to create the hash value? Internally, how to create the hash value? Actually, there is a simple hash function, message collection of message or file. What we are doing, suppose there are suppose very big message is there, and we have divided that message into form of block. Suppose there is very big message or file, that message or file is being divided into form of equal length block. We have divided the message into form of equal length block. So suppose there are m block. Suppose one block contain 8 bit, then all block must contain 8 bit. That I am saying. Suppose one block is containing 64 bit, then all block of the message should contain 64 bit. That means equal partition we are doing of the blocks. And what is here? CI. C is the ith bit of hash code. That means how hash code is being generated. If I will say ith bit of hash code. Suppose there are, I am saying that one there is very big message. That message is being divided into equal length blocks. Equal length block. That message is divided into equal length block. Suppose there are 64 bit block. One block. Then hash code will be also be the 64 bit block. That means what will be the output of hash value? Hash value will be also be the equal length of block. That means 64 bit. So I am saying here what for finding the hash value, what is done? Suppose from first block, first bit of first block, first bit of second block, first bit of mth block, all are XORed. All are XORed. That means first block of message, first bit of first block, first bit of second block, first bit of third block, and first bit of m block. All message block are XORed. And similar way, if I want to find out C2, suppose I find out C1. Now I want to find out C2. Then in case of C2, all the message second bit of first block, second bit of second block, and second bit of m block. In this same fashion, it is XORed. So after XORing, what value we are getting? That is hash value. That is the hash value. That means if I will say CI is the ith bit of the hash code, hash value. That vary from 1 to n. Number of n bit block as input. M is the message. Bij is the ith bit in j block. That means ith bit in j block. Ith bit in the j block. If I want to find out the hash value of ith bit, then ith bit of every block will be XOR. So I will get the hash value of I. In the similar fashion we are doing here. This is the way how we are finding the hash value. Now I am saying, suppose there is, it is also known as produce a small priority for each bit position in known as longitudinal redundancy check. It is also known as longitudinal redundancy check. In this case, n bit hash value is equal likely. That means n bit hash value is equal likely. Suppose if it is in form of 0 and 1, then either 0 or 1. That means every bit probability is same. Probability that data error will result in unchanged hash value. Suppose there are n bit hash value, then unchanged hash value is probability of unchanged hash value is 2 raised to minus n if it is n bit hash value. Now higher order, we are saying that in case of suppose there is 128 bit or 64 bit hash value, then in this case the most higher order bit is most of the time is 0. Always 0 if we are calculating it in octet form. Then what is happening? So we will say that effectiveness of this hash code is 2 raised to minus 128. If 128 bit, then 2 raised to minus 128. But actual effectiveness, if I will see, it is 2 raised to minus 112, not 2 raised to minus 112. I will show you this. So to improvement for this, what they are doing, we are for improvement, they are circulating 1 bit. They are performing the 1 bit circulation shift, and if more confidentiality needed, then what they are doing, after circulating n bits, they are encrypting also. So more security is achieved by using that. So here you can see that here more working of hash code. You can see that at least National Bureau of See, these are messages consisting of sequence of 64-bit block. Suppose 64-bit block is there. Message is x1 to xn. Defined hash code is C. Block by block XOR. That means it is the block by block XOR for finding the hash code. C is suppose hash code. Then what we have done? We have done bit by bit XOR of all the blocks that I have shown you before on. So in this case, you can see that suppose x1 XOR x2 XOR xn. These so we will get after this in message where that hash value is appended. That hash value is appended in the message at last. So if I will say xn, suppose there are n number of blocks, then last block will be of hash code. So last block of the message must be of hash code. So where it will go? Suppose n number of block is there. So xn plus 1 block is of the hash code. So last block is of the hash code in the message we are substituting. So in this case, we have find out the XOR of all the blocks, and we got the hash code. That is the last block of the message we keep it. So here we are applying CBC mode, chain blocking mode. I already explained you in previous classes what is chain blocking mode. In that case, initial vector is used, and suppose I want to find out x1. So in the x1 case, suppose I want to find out the x1. So in an x1 case, we decrypt by using secret key by 1 value, and that is performed, and it is initial vector. Suppose I want to find out xi, then it is skipper tag. By skipper tag, actually by what is by encrypted message. By is encrypted message. So encrypted message has to be decrypted, and that initial vector is being applied on that. In the similar fashion, you can see that suppose I want to find out the xi. So in case of xi, previous Kipper block chaining mode, what is happening? Previous Kipper text is XORed with current decrypted value of Kipper text. Then we get the final out. So xi. In this way, you will get all the hash value. If you will apply the Kipper chaining block mode in by 1 by 2 by n plus 1, you will get. I already explained you in the previous class what is Kipper chain blocking mode. Initial vector is used for first one, and previous Kipper text is used. So in this case, you have got this all thing x1, xn plus 1. So what is xn plus 1? It is the hash value. That means this is the messages bits, and last one block is for hash value or hash code. So in this way, you got all the. If you are performing XOR operation, you are getting the hash value. So in X1 I said in Kipper chaining block mode, what is the value? IV XOR DK by 1. That I already explained you in the previous class. When you will see Kipper block modes of operation, there you will find out. So here I have substituted this value with X1. So X2 value I have substituted with this one. This X2 value I have substituted with y1, and if suppose I want to find out X2 value, that means encrypted value of y2, and here is y1. So same thing I will do here. So I have kept here IV at the for x1, for x2 y1, dk by 2. For x3 I will do, for suppose x3 I will do here by 2 at the rate by XOR or dk by 3. So in the similar fashion for xn I will do here by n minus 1 at the rate XOR dk by n. So this is the Kipper block chaining mode I am using, and after doing this process you will get your hash value. You will get your hash value. So in this case we have found out the hash code. So this is the way how we are finding the hash value by using Kipper block chaining. So today lecture is over.